So we've gone through compression as dynamic range reduction. We've gone through it as a motion generator. But compression can also change the texture of your sound. Now, there are many, many different types of compressors out there in the world, and they're all designed differently. And depending on that design and the components involved, the compressor can change the texture of your sound quite drastically. So what do we mean when we say texture? Well, texture can mean many, many different things. For example, how punchy something is, or how flat something is, how thick something is, or how thin it is. It can mean many, many different things, and you can change the texture of high frequencies or mid frequencies or low frequencies. And it really comes down to your ability to know your compressors, know the different types of compressors out there. We're going to go through them in the future in a different video because there are quite a few of them. But you really want to familiarize yourself with the different types of flavors that are out there and available to you. So what I have here is 4 different compressors, and I've adjusted all of them to have more or less the same parameters. So I have a medium attack going, a fast release. The threshold or the input is set to be around the same, and the ratio is pretty cranked up. In addition to that, the filters are set to 50 hertz, so the low end gets through, and I've adjusted the volumes to be around the same levels, and the mixes are at 100%, so you're hearing the compression do its thing. So I'm gonna play the original raw track first, and then I'm gonna we're gonna cycle through this, and I'm gonna bring in and out these different compressors so you can hear what they do in terms of texture. I'm just going to play the very ending here so you can hear some of those faster drum fills happening on each compressor. So they all sound pretty different, right? The FG Gray has punch, has thickness, but there's still a sort of an open high end, an open quality to the sound. The Red is very, very snappy. It's punchy, it's pretty thick, but it's snappy as hell. The FGMU is perhaps more open, more organic, for the lack of a better word, but it's also grittier and dirtier. And the distressor here on these settings has a lot of smack and a lot of that sort of thwack type of thing going on. So as you can hear, there's a great deal of fluctuation between all of them, even though they are set to be relatively close to one another. And the possibilities here are very diverse. You could do certain type of compression on your snare drum or your kick. An important thing to focus on is that we're treating a stereo file of an entire drum kit, and that's because the effects are more apparent that way. Now, of course, we're processing drums here, but there are a lot of different instruments out there. So some of these work a certain way for vocals, some of them work better for guitars. Of course, a lot of that comes down to taste and your artistic intention. But that's sort of an introduction to how different the textures of compressors can be compared to one another. Finished.